The courtroom was silent. Every eye turned toward the young man standing at the defense table, 17-year-old Jamal Carter. Slim, nervous, his hands clasped tight. His worn hoodie looked out of place amid the dark suits and polished shoes that filled the room. Across from him sat Judge Harrison Whitfield, a man with a reputation for being as cold as the marble walls surrounding him. He peered down over his glasses, lips curved into a faint smirk. "So," the judge began, his voice echoing, "you're the one who hacked into the State Education Board's computer system?" Jamal swallowed hard. "Sir, I didn't hack anything. I was—" "Enough," the gavel slammed. "Don't waste my time with excuses. You people always have stories." The words hit like a slap. You people, everyone in the courtroom, felt it, the quiet prejudice dripping from his tone. Jamal's public defender looked down, saying nothing. No one dared to challenge the judge. Jamal's mother, Angela Carter, sat in the back row, tears glistening in her eyes. She had worked double shifts just to pay for his bus rides to school, proud that her son had dreams of studying computer science. But now, he was being treated like a criminal for being brilliant. Days earlier, Jamal had been accused of breaching the school system's network. But the truth was far from what the media painted. His school's grading system had crashed, locking out hundreds of students from their college applications. Jamal, who had been volunteering in the IT lab, had found the bug and fixed it. But when he restored the server, the system flagged his login as unauthorized access. Instead of thanking him, the district called the police. Now, standing in court, Jamal faced up to 5 years in juvenile detention. Judge Whitfield leaned back in his chair, flipping through Jamal's file. Father not listed, lives in Section 8 housing, average grades. Tell me, son, did you think you could outsmart the system? That's what gets kids like you into trouble. Thinking you're smarter than you are, the courtroom murmured. Jamal clenched his fists. With quiet resolve, he said, "Maybe I am smarter than the system, Your Honor. That's why I fixed it." Gasps rippled through the room. Even the bailiff raised an eyebrow. Whitfield's smile vanished. "Watch your tone, boy." Jamal's voice didn't waver. "I didn't break anything. I fixed what your staff couldn't." The judge's gavel slammed again, but this time his face twitched with something else. Embarrassment. As the trial continued, the prosecution brought in the district's IT director, a man named Mr. Conrad, who claimed Jamal had used unauthorized access to enter the school's secure database. But when Jamal asked to speak, the judge rolled his eyes. "You are not a lawyer. Sit down." Still, Jamal spoke. "Can I show something?" "It'll take 1 minute." Against his better judgment, Whitfield sighed. "Fine. But if this is a stunt, I'll hold you in contempt." Jamal nodded, walked to the computer screen in the courtroom, and began typing. His fingers flew across the keyboard with precision. The audience leaned forward, whispering. Lines of code filled the screen, green and white symbols dancing in rhythm. In less than 30 seconds, the screen displayed the words, "System error identified. Unauthorized flag triggered by outdated security protocol, version 2.1. He turned to the judge. "That's the system you use, sir. The protocol is from 2013. Anyone logging in under admin mode gets flagged as unauthorized. I didn't hack anything, I fixed it, and documented it." He opened another folder. "Here's the report I emailed your IT department the same night." Whitfield's expression froze. The prosecutor's mouth fell open. Mr. Conrad shifted uncomfortably. Jamal scrolled down to reveal the final line of the email. "The system is insecure and needs updating before it fails again. Jamal Carter, Senior IT Volunteer." The room fell silent. For the first time, Judge Whitfield didn't know what to say. Jamal looked at him calmly. "You said people like me think we're smarter than we are. Maybe that's the problem. You don't expect people like me to be smart." Whitfield's jaw tightened. His gavel hit the bench, not out of confidence this time, but to regain control. "Court will recess for 1 hour, he muttered. His voice was shaky. As the judge exited, Angela rushed forward and hugged her son tightly. "You did it, baby. You showed them." But Jamal only sighed. "It's not over yet, Mom. People like him don't like being proven wrong." During the recess, Judge Whitfield stormed into his chambers. His assistant followed nervously, holding the case file. "Sir," she said cautiously, "he's telling the truth. The IT logs match his claim. The boy's a genius." Whitfield glared at her. "Genius? He's a street kid playing with stolen code." "Sir, enough," he barked. "If word gets out that a teenager fixed our system, it'll make the entire department look incompetent. This case doesn't get dismissed until I say so." His assistant hesitated. "That's not justice, sir, that's pride." He turned sharply. "Then maybe you don't understand how this world works." An hour later, court resumed. Jamal stood tall as Whitfield returned, his face a mask of calm authority. The judge cleared his throat. "After reviewing the evidence, I've decided to postpone my ruling pending further investigation." Angela frowned. "Postpone?" Jamal stepped forward. "So you admit I'm innocent?" Whitfield's eyes flickered. "I admit nothing, but I suggest you stop playing the hero before you find yourself in deeper trouble." And with that, he banged the gavel and left the room. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed Jamal, microphones flashing. "Jamal, how do you feel about the judge delaying the verdict?" He looked straight into the camera, calm and defiant. "I feel like truth doesn't scare me, but it scares those who built their power on lies." The clip went viral overnight. Social media exploded with hashtags, #Justice for Jamal, and #The System is Broken. But not everyone was celebrating. At 11:47 p.m., Judge Whitfield sat alone in his office watching the clip. His phone buzzed, a private number. He answered. A gravelly voice spoke from the other end. "Judge Whitfield, that boy's stirring too much noise. If you can't shut him up, we will." Whitfield froze. "Who is this?" The line went dead, and outside his window in the parking lot below, a dark SUV idled, headlights off, engine running. Night crept over Los Angeles like a heavy curtain. Inside a dim apartment on the east side, Jamal Carter sat at his computer, the soft glow of code lighting his face. His mom was asleep in the next room, her steady breathing the only sign of peace in their small home. But Jamal wasn't at peace, not after what had happened in court. He had exposed the truth. He had embarrassed a powerful judge, and now he could feel eyes watching him. Since the video went viral, his phone hadn't stopped buzzing. Reporters, activists, lawyers, everyone wanted to talk to the kid who outsmarted a judge. But amid the praise came something darker. Private numbers, threats, warnings. "Stop talking before you end up like the others. You don't know who you're messing with, kid." He didn't know who the others were, but he was determined to find out. The next morning he woke to the sound of knocking. 3 hard bangs against the door. Angela stirred. "Jamal, who is that this early?" He walked to the door cautiously and peered through the peephole. A man in a suit stood there, crisp, calm, with a badge clipped to his belt. "Morning. Detective Ruiz, LAPD, we'd like to ask you a few questions." Jamal's chest tightened. "About what?" The detective's smile didn't reach his eyes. "About the system you hacked. Mind if we come in?" Angela stepped in front of her son, crossing her arms. "You can talk right here." Ruiz tilted his head. "Ma'am, this'll go smoother if we all cooperate." Jamal glanced past him. A black sedan idled on the street, engine humming. Something didn't feel right. "I already proved I didn't hack anything," Jamal said. "If you've got more questions, talk to my lawyer." The detective's smile vanished. "You sure you want to make this hard, kid?" "Hard?" Jamal said, meeting his stare. "No, I just want it fair." For a long moment they locked eyes. Then Ruiz slipped a card into Jamal's hand and turned away. "Suit yourself, just don't disappear." The car drove off, leaving a trail of dust. Angela turned to her son. "Baby, you sure you're safe?" Jamal forced a smile. "Yeah, Ma, just people bluffing." But deep down, he knew. This was no bluff. Later that day, Jamal met with Professor Dorsey, one of the few teachers who had believed in him. They sat in a small cafe downtown, far from the courthouse chaos. "Jamal," Dorsey said, stirring his coffee, "I saw the news. You handled yourself better than most trained lawyers." Jamal chuckled softly. "Didn't feel that way." "But you exposed something bigger than your case," the professor said. "That judge, Whitfield, he's connected. A lot of tech contracts run through his family foundation. If you embarrassed him publicly, you might have hit more than his pride." Jamal frowned. You mean someone else was using the broken system? Dorsey nodded. Follow the money, Jamal. Always follow the money. Jamal pulled out his laptop. Then let's see where it leads. For hours he dug through public databases, contracts, and archived news reports. Then he found it. A state grant worth millions, issued to a company named Whitmore Technologies, supposedly responsible for modernizing the school network years ago. The same system that Jamal had found outdated and broken, and listed under Project Oversight, Judge Harrison Whitfield. Jamal's breath caught. He wasn't just a judge on my case, he profited from the system failing. Dorsey leaned in. Exactly. And now you've exposed that failure. They exchanged a look, realization dawning on both their faces. This wasn't a mistake, Jamal whispered. It was a cover-up. That night, Jamal wrote a detailed report, documenting everything, the contracts, the falsified tech updates, the missing funds. He sent copies to a journalist friend, to a civil rights lawyer, and to an encrypted drive, just in case. Then, as he sat back, he noticed something strange. His screen flickered. Once, twice, then froze. Lines of code scrolled by, not his own. A remote connection. Someone was inside his system. Jamal's fingers flew across the keyboard, tracing the source. The IP address was masked, bouncing across multiple proxies, but he caught one detail before it vanished. Whitmore Legal, internal server. His heart pounded. The same network tied to the judge's foundation. He was being hacked by the same people he'd exposed. Before he could react, his computer shut off completely. He tried turning it back on. Nothing. Then, from outside his window, a car engine revved. He moved the curtain slightly. Two men in dark suits were standing across the street, one talking into a phone, the other staring directly at his building. The next day, Jamal went to the courthouse for a scheduled follow-up hearing. The tension in the room was thick. Cameras, reporters, whispers. Everyone wanted to see what would happen next. Judge Whitfield entered, his face unreadable. "Court is now in session," he said, voice cool and steady. "Before we proceed, I'd like to address the recent media frenzy surrounding this case." Jamal stood beside his lawyer. "Your Honor, all I did was tell the truth." Whitfield smirked. "Perhaps. But truth can be dangerous when taken out of context." He turned to the bailiff. "Please read the new charge." The courtroom gasped as the bailiff's voice echoed. "Defendant Jamal Carter is hereby charged with tampering with government property and obstruction of justice." Jamal's head snapped up. "What? That's not Whitfield's gavel?" Slammed down. "Order." Jamal's lawyer protested. "Your Honor, these are fabricated charges. My client has done nothing wrong." But the judge leaned forward, his voice low and cold. "Mr. Carter has interfered in matters far beyond his understanding. He wants to play hero. Now he'll learn what that costs." Angela cried out from the gallery. "You can't do this. He's just a kid." Security moved to escort her out. Whitfield's eyes flickered toward Jamal, not with anger this time, but fear. He knew Jamal had something on him, and Jamal knew it too. As the guards took him by the arm, Jamal looked straight at the judge. "This isn't over," he said quietly. "You're hiding something, and I'm going to prove it." The judge's gavel came down again. "Take him away." Outside the courthouse, chaos erupted. Protesters chanted Jamal's name. News crews shouted questions. But as police led Jamal toward the transport van, a familiar voice called out from the crowd. Deep, urgent, "Jamal, don't get in that van!" He turned. It was Professor Dorsey waving a phone. His face was pale. "They wiped everything from the servers," he yelled. "The files, the proof, it's all gone." Before Jamal could respond, the driver of the van looked up in the rearview mirror and smiled. Not just any smile. Detective Ruiz, the same man who came to his door. The van door slammed shut, and as the engine roared to life, Jamal realized he wasn't being taken to jail. He was being taken somewhere else. Somewhere no one would find him.